And welcome again to Cottage Talk. I am Russ Goldman, host of Cottage Talk, flying solo again. This is our preview show of Fulham's match against Everton on Saturday. This is going to be focusing on the team news. There's one big team news information that we need to get to, and I'll get to that during the show, and also be talking a little bit about Everton. This is going to be a quick preview, but I wanted to just do a show for everyone to preview the upcoming match. We will have a post-match show on Sunday of this match against Everton. I look forward to bringing that. As always, please do subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, especially on YouTube. Helps other Fulham supporters find us. We truly appreciate everyone that does subscribe on YouTube, and I pretty much say that every show. I also want to mention that Fulham are now part of the talkSPORT fan network. You will be seeing much more about this in the upcoming months after the World Cup. There's going to be a huge push from talkSPORT about the network, and I look forward to seeing what that means for Cottage Talk. I don't know right now. Hopefully it means a lot of good things. So I just want to mention that, as always, Cottage Talk, well, moving forward, is part of the talkSPORT fan network. Okay, so let's get started in this quick preview. And if you're watching live, feel free to share your prediction for the match. I'll end with a prediction for the match, and also feel free to share a starting 11. I can go through that as well. But let me start with thoughts on Everton and what's interesting about this leading up to the match. Even a week and a half ago, we're looking at Fulham beating Aston Villa, and they took down Steven Gerrard. Then we beat Leeds United. Jesse Marsch is still there, but they got another manager on the brink. Could it be 3 for 3 with Frank Lampard? I'm not so sure. I think Lampard is going to be given much more time at Everton, and we'll see how it goes for him. It's been an interesting season for them as he gets his team. Again, he helped them survive last season, so now it's the opportunity to proceed forward. So let's see what happens with Everton. But listen, they have some dangerous players. Calvert-Lewin, everyone knows, very dangerous player, someone to really look out for. Iwobi, another very dangerous player, Anthony Gordon. So they have players Fulham should be concerned about. But obviously, the flip side is I think Everton have several players that they should be worried about. So what I thought I would do is I would go to whoscore.com and go through a little strengths and weaknesses of both sides and see how Fulham match up with Everton, because it's interesting what I'm going to be talking about, because I think you're going to see some advantages Fulham actually have in this match. So let me just pull this up and we'll go through it, because I think you're going to see kind of what I see. So here we go. So if you look at Everton's strengths, they create chances using through balls. We'll see how that plays in with Fulham strengths, which is central midfield. Stealing the ball from the opposition, that could hurt Fulham. Creating long shot opportunities. I don't think that hurts Fulham that much. But this is what I want to focus on. Again, from whoscore.com, their weaknesses. Keeping possession of the ball. Now, Fulham have been very good once they've gotten possession of the ball. They can break very quickly, so this is an advantage. The big one that stands out for me, defending set pieces. It's listed as a weakness for Everton. This is a huge strength for Fulham. This is where I think Fulham can pick up a goal, or who knows, maybe multiple goals. If they're weak on set pieces, defending them, this is an advantage for Fulham. Avoiding individual errors, again, Fulham can capitalize there. Stopping opponents from creating chances. Again, Fulham, this is a place where Fulham can have the ability to create chances. If they're struggling with that, that could really hurt. Aerial duels. Well, right now with some of the height that Fulham have, there's an advantage here. And a big one. Now, this is going to depend how Frank Lampard plays this game. Defending counterattacks, because Fulham have been so quick on counterattacks. Again, very weak on aerial duels and defending counterattacks. These are two areas where I think Fulham can take advantage of Everton, but we shall see. But that, to me, is encouraging as we look forward. So, again, I'm actually very hopeful going into this match. And as I focus on Everton a little bit more, I listened to a very good podcast. And during the podcast, what was interesting about it is they were talking about the needs of Everton. And for me, this to me plays into a strength. The podcast is known as the Blue Room. And basically, they were talking about right now, the big weakness for Everton is a link between the defense and up front. That's a strength for Fulham. If they don't have that link up play, I think this is a huge advantage for Fulham. That gave me just a thought here that I'm like, if they don't have that player yet, this is where Paulinho, Reed, and of course Pereira can really take advantage of this Everton side. So we'll see. And listen, I have nothing against Frank Lampard. I know all the Chelsea connections. Nothing against him, but we'll see if he's up for the challenge. And what's interesting about this is that I think this match is going to be dictated not by what Marco Silva does, but what Frank Lampard does. What is going to be his approach at Craven Cottage? Is it going to be to take it to Fulham? Which, if that's the case, I really see that to Fulham's advantage. Or is it going to be to sit back and try to beat Fulham on the counter? Now, something tells me they're going to go for the former, but if he goes for the latter, I think of Bournemouth and how Bournemouth were able to really just take advantage of Fulham on the counter. If they go in that direction, I think this is going to be a really even match. But I have a feeling they're going to go with the former and they're going to try to take it to Fulham. We'll see what Lampard's approach, because I hope that they come to Fulham to play. If they come to play, I like Fulham's chances. Nothing against Everton, but I think that plays into Fulham's hands. Okay, so let's now get to the team news. And I think the very obvious team news is Marco Silva this morning in his presser made it known that Kenny Tete is available for selection against Everton. Now, this is great news. Fulham really have missed Kenny Tete a huge amount. But here's my question to the audience. If you're watching live, feel free to share your thoughts on this. Do you start Kenny Tete? What I mean by that is, if he's just coming back to fitness, do you hold off another match? Do you let him come off the bench if need be? I'm actually leaning towards that, because the problem that Fulham have had with Kenny Tete is fitness and staying fit. They need him for the long term. So if I'm looking at the long view of this, and just so you know, Marco Silva said he's available. He didn't say he's starting, just said he's available for selection. I'm not so sure he's going to be starting. We shall see when the starting 11 comes out, and I'm not sure he should. I think Bobby Decordova-Reid can get the job done. I have wanted Kevin and Bobo. I don't think we're going to see that happening. So for me, we're going to see what's going to happen. I wouldn't be against Tete not playing. That might not be a popular view, but I'm thinking long-term because I think they need him. So unless Silva feels that he can go for 90 minutes, then I might not start him. That's just how I'm looking at it. But they desperately need him. They have missed him. So we shall see what Marco Silva decides. I'm a little split on this because obviously there's a part of me that wants Fulham to start Kenny Tete. But if he isn't ready to go, if he can't go 90 minutes, I wouldn't push it and I wait another week. I would totally wait another week. That's just the way that I'm looking at it. Okay. So let me move forward. Let's now talk about my thoughts on how does Fulham win this match. And like I mentioned earlier, I think it's going to come down to really how Frank Lampard and Everton play this match. If they come to Craven Cottage looking to play, I think that, again, will help Fulham really take it to Everton, play into their strengths, play through central midfield, get the ball wide, and get crosses in the box to Mitro. I think it sets everything up if Everton decide to play. If they are deciding to play more defensive, it's going to be more of a challenge. So that's where I'm going on this. And also, as I went through the weaknesses of Everton, set pieces are going to be huge in this match. And I think Fulham need to score on a set piece. I'll say it again. Whether it's a corner, whether it is just a free kick, I think this is where Fulham are really strong. Pereira's deliveries have been great. And as we can see, they have so many different routines. And I think that's also what makes it difficult to defend. I don't think Fulham do really the same thing twice. Well, definitely not back to back, but I would even say from match to match, I think they are mixing it up. And I think that is fantastic because the opposition, when they're studying Fulham, probably are thinking, well, these are the set pieces that they run. And I just got a sneaking suspicion that each match that Marco Silva and his staff are changing it up, and that makes it difficult to defend. Fulham on set pieces, very dangerous. Counterattacks, very dangerous. And if they can get control of the ball, I think they can control this game. So we'll see. But again, I think it's all dictated from not what Fulham do, but what Frank Lampard does. What is his approach? And I think that will just tell us how this match is going to go. Okay. Coming up next, I'm going to share what I would do with the starting 11 and then give my prediction. If you're watching live, please feel free to share your prediction. Okay, so I'm going to give you what I would do as a starting 11. So I would go, obviously, with Bernd Leno as your goalkeeper. Right back, I'm going to stick with Bobby Decordova-Reid just for this one match. Then I would go back to Kenny Tete. Left back, Anthony Robinson. Okay, I'm going to go for a little controversy here. I'm going to go with Tosin and Diop. Yes, I'm going to leave Tim Ream out of this. I'm going to go with the two of them. I want to see this partnership. We saw it against Nottingham Forest. I want to see it again. I don't think he's going to go this direction, but I'm going to go. This is what I want. Tosin and Diop. Then we're looking at central midfield. Pretty much picks itself. It's going to be Paulinho, Harrison Reed, and Pereira. On the left, I'm going to go with Willian. Harry Wilson, I'm going to go on the right. And up front, Alexander Mitrovic. That is what I would do for a starting 11. So now that's going to lead to ending this very quick show with a prediction. And anyone that has watched or listened to Cottage Talk knows I'm a very positive person. And listen, I think beating Leeds United was a huge victory for Fulham. I did pencil this one as a potential victory. I'm not changing my mind on this. Fulham are home. They should feel that they can get all 3 points. I'm going to go with Fulham, and I'm going to go with my favorite scoreline, 3-1 to Fulham. Nothing against Everton. I just think Fulham are on a roll. Center back position right now with Tarkowski and Cody, that should do them well. But I think Fulham are going to be able to mix it up a little bit on how they do things, especially if they can really control the match. I think you're going to see a lot of crosses in the box. We'll see how Cody and Tarkowski deal with Mitrovic. But if they focus so much on him, I think it's going to open things up for other players. I think that is the one thing that many are not seeing out of this Fulham side is that it's not a one-man team. There are so many players that can hurt you right now. And now if you add Harrison Reed as a player that actually an offensive weapon, I can't believe I'm saying that, but he is really showing it lately. If he gets in the mix, Fulham are even more dangerous. I'm going 3-1. That's going to be my prediction. Okay. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this is going to be a very quick show. We will have a post-match show on Sunday, but I wanted to do a quick show for everyone. And just want to thank everyone who has listened to or watched Cottage Talk on YouTube and listen on Apple Podcasts. Please do subscribe. Cottage Talk, as I keep on mentioning, is part of the talkSPORT fan network. Well, that's going to do it for this quick episode of Cottage Talk. My name is Russ Goldman, host of Cottage Talk, now part of the talkSPORT fan network.